this is Eleanor, and you're listening to Hey Biz Buds, the podcast. Today, we have Renee,
Hello.
Diana,
Hi.
Fitri, AJ, and Manisha.
Yo.
And
Yes.
today, I want to talk about something interesting, or rather important to me, which is all about your identity and who are your role models that shape your identity today, especially in business, especially who you are as an entrepreneur. Like for
Very
example,
deep.
I mean, religiously, we have example of our prophets who we look up to, that we want to emulate. But what about in your career, your lifestyle? Who do you look up to? Okay.
Oh, very deep.
Suddenly,
Yeah, I
silence.
really love
Silence.
identity
Haven't thought
questions
about it.
because like it's very thought-provoking, and it's not like we always follow one role model throughout our lives,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we pick and choose. And the things that we pick and choose are their characteristic, their positive values, and also how they attain success with similar struggles and path that individually that you guys go through.
This is
So,
on business, is it? Only
yeah.
solely on business, right?
Maybe it can be lifestyle
Entrepreneurship.
business.
Yeah, it can be
Yeah.
like how your life.
Yeah. So
Life,
anybody
okay.
here has like someone you look up to other than SRK?
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Eleanor.
Manisha
By the way,
waiting, is
she's
it?
not
I
talking
was
to
about to
me.
answer
She's talking to somebody else.
that person. Okay, anyway. Okay.
Yeah, but this is for everyone first, yeah.
Okay,
It's a
maybe I'll
very good
just
question, like we never really thought about it.
Yeah, now I'm actually thinking deeply, but then after that I come to a conclusion. So okay, maybe I'll just share my take. Entrepreneurship or running my own business was never a thing. Okay, because in my family for both sides, right?
Yeah.
Like none are entrepreneurs, like zero. Okay. So I mean, then after that, okay, if you talk about lifestyle, musically, maybe my mom's side, because my mom is Filipino, so something with the Philippine blood with the whole music thingy, but that's aside. So when I actually look back and sit down and think back, right, like where this entrepreneurship come about? I mean, it cannot be. I feel that it has to be somewhere in the family line before we're exposed to like the outside, right?
Yes.
So then after that it hit me because my late grandmother from my paternal side, she sells she make kueh. So she's a very good, she bakes and everything. So every Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, she will bake like those pineapple tarts. And back then, when we were young, I always have to be the one helping. I mean, we were always extra manpower, right? Free manpower, right? So, I help to put the pineapple, like put all the simple stuff for the tart. And then she sells it. So when I think that is like way back then, it's like the OG of entrepreneurship. Like
Yes,
people
I
order kueh, people order food, and then you just make, usually during the festive season. And I always remember that every time festive season, I always have to work. I have to work in that sense. So now that when I'm older and I look back, indirectly, right, this entrepreneurship or running a business kind of like ingrained subconsciously that I do not know that it is. So thanks, Eleanor, for the question, because I've never thought about where this entrepreneurship come about or why am I running my own business, because it's so strange.
Yeah.
Like everyone is employee and I try to be an employee, but I just cannot. So then I think, is it me? Am I the problem? So
did I just
No, you're not the problem, AJ.
yeah, so then it made me realize that, but while helping my late grandmother do that, I subconsciously like, hey, I think it's a good idea to, do your own thing, run your own business, and you kind of get like, you earn money from doing what you love, right? Because my grandmother, loves to bake, and she sells them and she gets money, and then that money used to, run a house back then. I mean, a household or whatever. Yeah, so I would say my very first subconscious role model would be my late grandmother. because she's
Aw.
like an
I love
entrepreneur.
that you add subconscious. It's
Yeah,
someone
because
you don't
we
intentionally pick.
correct, because I wouldn't think of her. What I mean, if now I was like, oh, who's my example, I would think about like, okay, like people that I look up to, entrepreneurs, big
Correct.
figures like
That is
Jobs, like
better.
Steve Jobs, for example.
Yeah.
So those are like our like big role models. But then what about the true role models that impacted us without
I
us
love
even
it.
knowing?
Yeah.
Think about it. But okay,
Wow.
yes, that's me. Okay.
That's a very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Right.
I mean, like, it got me thinking as well. It's like, just I was like thinking, oh, first maybe Hanafi, but then like, oh no. Then now that AJ has mentioned, right, like it really, like from young, right, how she helped. So for me, it wasn't my grandmother, it wasn't my family member actually.
Mhm.
It's actually my late helper. Yeah, so I think both my parents were working.
Oh, the one
so
that
yes,
just passed on, is it?
yes, she passed on. Yeah. So I hope I don't cry. I can feel the tears already coming
It's
out.
okay.
Yeah, this
It's
is
okay
gonna
to
be
cry,
a
yes.
very deep conversation.
Yeah. Oh my
Diana,
gosh. I
Show
mean, no.
your vulnerability. Yeah.
I yeah, I guess I mean growing up, for she was around like even before I was born. Like she was around when my brother was born. So when I grew up, I shared the same room with her. She's really like my grandmother. I was closer to her than my other family members, my grandmother, my mom, and also. So the thing is, I knew everything that happened. That happened, that she'll call, who she calls, and all that. So I really knew everything. But I realized that growing up, cause she knows how to cook, right? So and my mom gives her the freedom lah cause let's say she cooks very well. So let's say she cooks like rempeyek. You all know rempeyek, right? Yeah, it's the Indonesian cracker lah. So she makes really good rempeyek, and like my aunts, my family members will actually order from her. So she will cook in my house. Like my mom will allow her to do that, and then she will sell lah. So like for extra income, that kind. Yeah, and then so I realized that because I will help her out as well. I will like make the rempeyek as well. Then I will like look at her do and how she like deals with this business thing. And like, oh, maybe that's why I'm like that. I've always been like intrigued by the whole idea of like making your own things and like, selling. So I guess that's in a way like how it influenced me as well. Good point, AJ, like for bringing
suddenly
that up.
all these
Yeah,
things we think about. I never thought
yeah.
about
It's like,
before.
I never thought like, oh yeah, it's like probably like my arwah. Yeah.
I
But even for me, like,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Yes,
Go
you know,
ahead, go
like
ahead.
you were
Yes.
asking role model, and I was thinking like Eminem. I was like, is Eminem my entrepreneurial role model? He's not. He's not a role
Wait,
model
but it's a
also.
career. You
Possible.
can be a
Sort
career,
of, right?
Career.
Yeah.
And then when AJ was like, Grandma, I was like, why I so funny? My father lah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
why.
right.
Malaysia,
Your
you
first instinct, you should
direct
remember.
say. Aiyo,
I
this
forget.
girl.
Sorry.
Okay,
my bad.
anyway.
Sorry, Papa.
Yeah.
I think for me, totally different from the three of you. Like I don't have any one at all. Paternal, maternal, whatever, maternal, whatever, nocturnal, don't have.
What is
Nocturnal
nocturnal?
ke tak ada?
Nocturnal also don't have. So basically I'm like the first one. But if you're talking about growing up, right? Last time myself and my sister, we used to like to play, like selling things. And then she likes to do this knitted stuff, like the friendship band and stuff like that. And we
I love
sell
it.
to each other. Yeah, don't ask me why, but
Trading.
yeah.
Okay. It's a
So we
start. It's a
sell to
start.
each other. But I
So
think that's kind of like, because she is good at numbers. So she's an accountant. So she grew up in that sense. So everybody is in the 9 to 5. So I think it's more of like I would say it's not really like entrepreneur role model, but it's really more of how I look up to my sister in terms of, as entrepreneur, you need to also always keep on upgrading yourself with knowledge, with certification. So when she was when she was not married, she had diploma, and then she was married, and then she's married, and then she had 2 children. She continued until she had masters. So that's kind of like gave me a role model, like, okay, your age is just a number. Having children is just it's not an excuse for you to upgrade yourself. So you need to keep on upgrading
Hint.
you need to keep on upgrading for yourself to upgrade your career or your business. So it's not really like entrepreneur role model, but she actually molded me in such a way that I need to always keep on upgrading myself. So that's why I always keep on taking up certification.
So we should
Oh,
blame your sister,
wow.
Rini. We shouldn't
yeah.
blame you. We need to
We
blame
need
the
to have her
cause.
in this
I shall-
conversation.
I shall let
Ah.
her listen to
Yes.
just this part that we blame my sister.
Thank you, Rini's sister, Marina, right? Your sister name?
Yes.
Thank you, Marina, for bringing up such an amazing woman to our team that we always find hard to compliment, but we still love her
Thank you.
unconditionally.
Let's hear from Fitri. Like, who is your role model?
Yeah, I was listening to AJ, Manisha, Liana, and you guys have somebody, and I'm like, I don't have anyone. I wanted to hear from Rennie. That's why I keep quiet first. Yeah, I read the question and I couldn't figure out exactly who is my role model. I don't have someone, but I realized that who I am today, right, is a pinch or sometimes a big chunk out of someone who I
Yep.
meet along the
Mhm.
way or
Yep.
as I grow up.
Nice.
And that is why maybe I couldn't have someone
Yeah.
someone to look up to. I enjoy just being around you guys and taking a pinch or whatever that I can mimic or I can, practice in my life. There's always something to learn from everyone. Everyone is nice. Everyone, there's always something to learn
Yep.
from. So yeah, I say
Love it.
whatever good we can get from someone, mimic it, emulate it, practice it. But I also realize that when I do this, I kind of forget who I am. Like because you take a piece out of everyone and you realize that, hey, is that really me? Or is it just me trying to learn and become somebody else? So when I learn from everyone, there will come a point in time where I feel overwhelmed and I realize that, oh, okay, this is the part where I need self-care. I need to be with, to have time for myself and realize that and figure out like, okay, is this who I want to be?
Yeah. True.
I need to figure out my
Correct.
own identity.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally agree with
So,
you,
yeah.
Fitri. Like
So-
I also like to take a lot of I like to pick
Yes.
brains from a few people.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely,
So it's like
definitely.
whatever that's good I learn from that person, I will emulate it
Mm.
and make it my own
Mm.
identity.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
it's
Yeah,
more of
all the
like
way.
of course whatever you converse with that person or the multiple people that you meet, right? Not everything can resonate with you, right?
mm.
So
Yeah.
just take what can be resonated and then make it as your own identity as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
I love that. Actually, it's interesting that Fitri ended up with that response because that was going to be my following questions, being that your role models are not just one, it's like a collection over the years.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's not actually the person that you are looking, look up to, but rather you are interested to follow certain values that they have.
Yeah.
The characteristics and the kind of success you see in them. Like for example, for me, okay, I would call them my creative influence. And not in a way that they are designers or anything, but I always see life as an art, okay? So there are poets and creative people in my life that I look up to that kind of shape the understanding of who I want to become. And recently I read this book, also on creativity, but more on identity also. It says that no one is original.
Yep.
I was taken aback lah. But it's all because that growing up, there's always someone you look up to first, for example, your mother, and then you start to, follow their footsteps. And then you start to, emulate them. And then over the years, you go to school and now in your own career, like for me right now, I think because I spend a lot of time with you guys, I emulate each one of you bit by bit. And it's because we want to follow great influence. And I'm really thankful that oh, emotional.
Small heart.
Oh yeah. So in a way, our lives, our identity is being shaped with how or where we are today.
Yeah.
And I think this podcast is a dedication to everyone. So you guys, the one who shaped us.
Eleanor, don't cry.
Hopefully our listeners will be influenced, our viewers will be influenced by us. Maybe spread the goodness down.
Yes.
Oh, she really looking for tissue, no?
Tissue dah habis.
How you want to pass?
Virtually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let me take a minute.
Yes, it's okay. I completely agree. I never thought of it that way actually, you know, like taking bits like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Like we know what the picture is, or sometimes in you know, like Fitri said, I don't know, sometimes makes me question who I am. Am I me, or am I taking these pieces from? So you know the picture, you know, like okay, that's who I want to be. Right?
Yeah.
And then I take little pieces from people. And then like you also said, Eleanor, like you know, when you said take what you want from a certain person, like it's their creative talent, or it's their development, or it's their process, right? Because there are many people I've met in my life where I'm like, I don't necessarily agree with this person with this particular thing, but I like how you did that to achieve this. So it's like, okay, I'll remember that process, you know. That's so it's not really role model, it's more like you said, like influencing my thought process, and like, okay, you know, going on with that. Because role model, you know, like AJ said, sometimes we think, oh, big people like Steve Jobs, Tony Robbins, Eminem, Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, I don't know how Eminem and Shah Rukh Khan lah, but yeah, you know.
Again.
Just
idols.
actually.
I don't know, if I see Rini and I see Shah Rukh Khan, it could be because she likes cinematography. She respects his
maybe.
acting.
Wow.
You know, so it's
Nice
more
song.
than just because he's hot to her. Like, I don't know how she's hot to her, but yeah.
No,
Okay.
you should watch all his interviews. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
Another
He's a
episode.
witty guy.
Okay, another
He has
episode.
a type apparently.
Yes. No, another episode we should dedicate Shah Rukh Khan.
Oh my God.
Shout out to him, and
Then
then we
I
see
will
whether
DM him. Please listen to
Listen.
this.
Okay,
Yeah, but
great.
inspiration can come from anywhere. It
Yeah,
could be from a
That's
child.
true.
You guys have parents, you know. You
Yeah.
guys know. Sometimes your children might just say like, "Oh yeah, why didn't I think of it that way?" You know?
Yeah, I think
Exactly,
whenever I see Eleanor like post up her drawings, her doodles, I feel like, oh, this is so creative. Like I want to try to also try to be creative like that.
Yeah.
Like she kind of like influenced me to be that creative. Yeah. So yes, we kind of like influence each other in that sense. Yeah.
I mean, okay, sorry. Wait, someone wanted to say
okay, it's
something.
okay.
No,
No,
nobody's
I think I mentioned this before, but the whole like who you are, who you hang out with reflects
Yep.
like who you
Mhm.
become, right? So I guess that's where, I'm actually really, really happy that I'm part of this group. I think, like when I talk to other people, like I mean, I just ended like that 2-day course, right? And a lot of them were employees, you know. So they don't have knowledge about this because they want to run their own business, but then they don't know how to because you know, throughout their lives, like they're always with like employees, so they have like a bit of like a fixed mindset. But then I'm like, wow, I think if I still remember how it's like when I was them that time, and like versus now when I'm like surrounded with like so many people who's like always like pushing each other to like grow and all that. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think riding
so-
on to what Liana said, the five, whoever that mixes, right? So the 5 people you mix with, the 5 books you read, 5 music, and the 5 TV shows if you're actually watching, basically
Right.
influence
To
how you
Vincenzo.
think. Influence how you think, how you do things, how you run. I wouldn't say
Yes,
run
I
your
love
life
that.
lah, but how you actually build your own identity in that sense.
Right. Yeah.
Someone was asking this person about abundance mindset. I'm still learning what exactly it is. And this person says that you need he broke it down like this world is actually positive.
Mm.
It runs on positivity. Everything that makes us feel good will light up. We
Yep.
know that, right?
Mm.
So this person says that everything needs to be positive. Like you have to be happy with what you are doing, the business that you do. It has to be, you have to surround yourself with positive people, good
Yep.
people to encourage you to do the business that you want to do.
Yep.
And then when you do that, you will feel grateful. And when you
Mm.
feel grateful, that's where the abundance will keep coming in, because
Yep.
the world itself has this positivity flow that never ends. And it's a cycle. If you are stuck, if you don't like where you are, if you don't like your boss, or if you don't like the business you're doing, then you need to change. You need to change.
Yep.
No one is going to change it for you, but you need to change to like move to a positive thing,
Yeah.
and then the abundance will come, and then the all the good stuff will come. So that, when I heard that, I'm like, oh wow, so it's just positivity. It's just surrounding yourself with goodness and
Yeah.
happy,
Mm.
and yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
true.
Love that.
Abundance, I think when you left for a while,
We had a
abundance
mini
itself
conversation.
the abundance itself is a
Ah.
huge topic on its own.
Manisha
Manisha?
pula.
Okay, I think she
Shocked
overwhelmed.
me. Yeah, she
So
overwhelmed with the abundance.
yeah,
She
abundance.
is filled with abundance already.
So she need to leave the room.
But yeah, I think abundance itself is very huge space. If you are not ready also, it can be very overwhelmed. So take one
Yeah.
step at a time when it comes
Correct.
to abundance. Just, I mean, the simplest thing to appreciate abundance is to be grateful. The more grateful you are, the more abundance you receive. So that's very important.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yes.
I also want to write on like what Fitri said. That to choose the right people. So
Yeah.
role models sometimes is also about being aware of your surroundings. Like some of us are not privileged to be surrounded by positive people. And that in itself, we need to make the effort to kind of shift ourselves if we want to, like be better for ourselves. We need to make the effort to shift our environment, change a little bit, to just be surrounded by positivity. I want to wrap up to kind of reverse the role. Okay. You are somebody's role model. What would you like to say to someone who looks up to you?
This one like another topic, I know.
It's still role model,
thing,
but
it's the
because
thing.
It's still real.
everyone
it's still
is
role model,
somebody's
correct,
role
correct.
model. So
That's true.
I
That's
want
true.
you to, as someone who's listening to this podcast as well, to listen, to hear from their own role models, if there's anyone here. So yeah, so the floor is yours. Rini, Liana, Fitri, AJ, you can start.
Okay. I'll start. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
start.
sure.
I mean, if I don't know if I'm a role model to anyone, but I always have what you call that? I always have something to say to my younger self. Yes, because my younger self role model have to be me now, right? Because then I am here today, who I am today, right? So my piece of advice to my younger self and to anyone out there who needs, still finding your role model. If you haven't found one, eventually you will have one. But the thing that I always go on my mantra, my mantra is that to live your life with no regrets. So be it whether I have to, pick, let's say, a client, for example. So I ask myself, will I regret if I say no to this client? And then so you have to trust your instinct and your gut to the honest answer. If the honest answer really is no, even if it's a good paying job, but I just can't, right? Then you have to trust lah. Because if you don't trust yourself or your instinct and you go ahead with it, and then you might have regret later, which then will escalate to a whole different set of, unnecessary problems. That's my opinion. So where I am today, I always look back and ask myself, for all the dumb things that I've done in the past, for all the unrealistic, impossible tasks that I've done in the past, and when I look back, I will always remind myself that, do I have any regrets? Yes, and the answer, of course, ideally the answer is I want to have no regrets in life because we only live once. And then of course you have to, as you grow older, you need to priorities, things change, how we view things change. So be it wherever you are in your life, always ask yourself before you do something, ask yourself, would I regret this later on? That's all. That's for me.
Nice.
Take a moment. Okay.
Absorb.
I can share. I think one thing that if someone actually look up to me as a role model is to not be afraid to change for the better.
Nice.
Or if you are running a business, not to be afraid to pivot your business and not just stuck there and then question yourself and then you suck and then you blame yourself or your surroundings. So it's okay to change because change is the only constant, right? So if you change, I mean, like, change also is a huge space. Sometimes you don't like this person, you want that person to change, but it doesn't work that way. You have to change yourself first and then you see the change around you. So that's from me.
So many
Change is the only
wisdoms.
constant.
Agree.
Stepping on AJ and Rennie, I think my advice for someone who looks up to me would be something similar lah. So it would be think about your future. I guess that was the advice that I was given when I'm growing up. Think about your future. But it's very general, and at the point of time when I received this advice, I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I think what I did was asking. I asked myself, who is it that I want to be in the next 5 or 10 years? Or where do I want to go? Do I see myself doing the same thing today? All of these self-identity questions, ask yourself that, because once you know where you want to go, you will eventually figure out how you want to go there. And that will, and then after that it will come down to your own discipline, self-responsibility. So start from thinking about your future, and where you want to go.
Nice.
Okay, so for me, wow, so many nuggets. Okay, okay, for me, it's really to trust the process, and I believe that everything happens for a good reason. If something bad happens, it's for you to learn. If something good happens, it's for you to build your confidence. Okay, so yeah, just trust the process. Do everything you can, to the best of your ability. Like, even if like I think what AJ says, don't live life with regrets. Yeah, because everything you realize will, like, when, like, for me, when I'm here, I realize that everything happened really, like the how do I put it? Okay, like, everything happened so nicely, right? To get to where I am today. So like, all the pain that I went through, the trauma or whatever in my childhood, I realized it's actually to build myself to be who I am today. Yeah. So
Wow,
that's
nice.
mine.
Beautiful.
Yes,
And I
yes,
want
yes.
to wrap up with mine. If you're someone who's looking up to me and my friends, I think the thing about role model is to be resilient. You may be looking up to me today, but don't take me for me. Remember that it's all about you, your journey.
Yep.
And think about how what I said or anything I do reflects back to how you want to see yourself in the future. If it doesn't work, change, adapt, be resilient, okay? And never regret your decisions, okay?
Yep.
So I really love the conversation today. It's something very dear to me. I want to thank everyone here and you listeners today for listening to us today. And so be sure to share our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, okay? And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.